Ladies and gentlemen, the Pink Lady is at Pink Flame Group exhibition, which is at the main exhibition hall at Village Market. And I'm with the curator and the organizer, Tewa! So, tell us about this whole exhibition right now, Pink Flame. Also, who are you before everything else?
So my art name that everyone knows me in the art world is Tewa, but my ID name is Thaddeus Wamkoya, and I go with the name Tewa because it's mostly a name that I resonate with. It's more like an African name, and I realized that the whole meaning of the name Tewa is actually a name of a fish. And I learned that when I was in Lamu, something that I did not know.
Or when you were naming?
Yeah, when I created the name, I made it out of, so my full names, like Thaddeus. So I took the T, and then put the E in the Thaddeus, and then Wa is Wamkoya.
Okay.
So when I was naming myself, I didn't really know the whole meaning behind Tewa. Apart from people knowing it as Shimola Tewa, I didn't know the whole history about the name. And then I keep going to Lamu because there are some young artists that I support in Lamu. And later on, I realized that it has actually a whole meaning. And there's a fish that is called Tewa. And actually, it has a very special, like, characteristics behind the fish. So, Tewa is a fish that actually has hides a lot of the time, and it comes out when there is something important.
Just like you.
So that is the.
He's my brother, so I know him.
So it only comes out when something important to, and the something important here is Pink Flame.
The Pink Flame.
So Pink Flame basically is an idea that I've had for a whole year, and you guys might not believe it, but I've hired this hall for a whole year. I hired it in August last year, and it's an idea that it was in my mind, but I was not sure if it's the right idea to do because of the economic aspect. Because we are at a point where elections have happened, and everyone is holding money, and so many things are not working in the right way in terms of business. But one of the things that really inspired Pink Flame is basically the simple idea that women artists are underrepresented in the Nairobi contemporary art scene.
Not just musicians.
Because I feel like when I walk through the exhibition calendar in most of the galleries, it's easier to spot a male artist name more than the female. And one of my impact as Tewa was to at least introduce a new list of artists that are not known, but they have something to offer. And when you look through the collection of the artists, I have 44 artists from 6 countries, which is Kenya, Uganda, Sudan, Somali, Rwanda, and Tanzania. So most of the questions that people have been asking, how did I get these artists? So apart from the Kenyan artists that I know, and I live with them here in Nairobi, I did an open call on my Instagram page, which has gained so much following over the past 3 years. And I've been doing the online open call, and then I was shocked to receive over 60 submissions.
Wow.
My wish and my hope was to showcase all the 60 artists, but I ended up selecting 44, simply because their work had looked to be ready for the market, and it was ready for the exhibition.
Yeah. So how long have you been curating and organizing? So
I've been officially being a curator for independently for 3 years. I launched Tewasartandpatrons in 2019 March, but doing this, it's almost 6 years.
So you can tell a piece that is ready for the market and one that
exactly. And for me, my opinion about like valuation of art, it simply comes to the point of I strongly believe the audience always decides the value, because you can be telling someone this painting is worth 50,000, and it depends on the audience. The audience will always tell you if the painting is worth the value or not. So one of the criteria that I use to value the art, mostly I give my artists the freedom to decide how much they want from the art. Then as a curator, I have my commission. So as a gallerist, I work with 30% on a normal like a business scenario. But when I'm hiring a space, I work with 40%. And when a painting sells, I take 40%, and the artist gives 60%.
Okay.
So what now decides the value is the artist give me their price, and then I add my commission.
Okay.
Then now when the client, when 3 or 4 clients come and tell me, hey, this painting is really good, but I can only afford this amount. So when I get more feedback from the audience from these exhibitions, it now gives me an idea of how to value that painting.
Yeah.
So I can only know the value of the artist when I showcase them more than once.
Yeah.
When you show an artist only once, it's very hard to know like how much they are valued. That's why you'll find there's an artist who's selling a painting for 10,000 and another one is selling for as much as 200,000 because they've been showcasing for many platforms and they have gained like an audience and it becomes now a brand.
Yeah.
So for me with Tewa's Art and Patrons, mostly I'm not a typical gallerist, but what I do is mostly to give an artist a platform, especially the new artist, a way to get into the market. So I've invested in networks, in galleries, curators, artists. Some of them are established. And the whole idea of Pink Flame is to get these 44 artists to be able to access these networks. Which is also a kind of a hard task because sometimes you can put these hopes high for these artists, and then maybe they might not really achieve what they were expecting.
So do you manage that?
Sometimes it's hard. Sometimes it gets overwhelming because you find an artist would give you a painting for the first time and they expect a paycheck, which does not outrightly happen on the first instance. So it needs a lot of guidance and advice, which sometimes needs resources and a lot of time. So for me, what I've actually been encouraging with Pink Flame is to give these artists a platform. First of all, to build their confidence. Because when you're an artist in an industry that does not have infrastructure and resources, one of the things that you lack is confidence because you cannot speak about your art or even be happy about what you're creating. You find most of these artists paint and they hide their paintings, simply because they don't have the confidence to even speak about it. So for me, with Tewa's Art and Patrons, first of all, is to guide and build that confidence. And Pink Flame, for me, all I was telling the artists, bring the art.
That's it.
Other people will be like, give me money or give me, let's say, pay for the space or we are going to split this cost. I kind of took upon that burden it's a risk. It was a risk that I took to just give these 44 artists a space in the business. And one of the things that has come out of this dialogue is mostly I've invited some of my curator friends and galleries who some of them really like some of the names and they're already contacting the artists to plan something. So Pink Flame was just the idea of bringing these artists in one location and inviting other stakeholders to come and discover some of those names because they have a wider following on Instagram. But now if you cannot tap into the mainstream market, it's so hard to sell a painting for even more than $100.
Right.
So for me, with Tewa's Art and Patrons, my job is just to partner with different stakeholders to give these artists a platform.
So you've done an amazing job.
Thank you so much.
For the first time I've walked into a gallery and relate to something. And to see that you are supporting women and you've identified that.
Now that is the most interesting part about this show because there are like, I think 4 visitors who came to the show. And they thought Tewa is a lady.
Okay.
I swear.
For real?
So there's a lady who came and asked me, who is Tewa? Because in people's mind, it's always wired that only a woman can support you. But for me, it's just that I'm privileged to have more female artists around me, and they're my friends. And they support me. Like they keep sending me messages telling me you're doing an amazing job. So why would I not do something to support them? It's just something that I kept thinking, like, I have these 44 artists, or even more than 40. Some are in Sudan, I've never met them. Some are in Uganda, I've never met them. And they are doing so well in terms of their work. Their work is quality. Like, will I just find reasons not to support them because I've never met them? So that's what really encouraged me to do like the online open call, and I received the application, and then I even went to the extent of really investing in the shipping because most of the Sudanese pieces, I'm the one who handled them getting here. So for me, it's more like a long-term investment. I wouldn't look at it like whatever I'm doing is something that is short term. it's something that I'm looking at. These artists in a few years, they're gonna be like important names in the market. And by me being someone who is introducing them to the market, I think my role will remain significant. Whether they go abroad or they are showing globally, they will always remember that Tewa gave us that opportunity to even tap into the Nairobi market. So for me, about Tewa's Art and Patrons, one of the challenges that I face mostly is limited resources, because sometimes I have to ship in paintings from Sudan, and sometimes I get issues with customs, you know. And sometimes when you explain to the customs that it's an exhibition,
you don't get it.
They don't understand it because art knowledge and information is limited. So no one really knows how to showcase an exhibition. So such videos actually make it easier for people to understand that how artists survive. And that also comes back to the idea of confidence. When you're trying to be an artist and you're trying to explain to people why they should buy the painting for 100,000, and they don't understand.
And it's your time, it's your creativity.
And also it's resources. You know, you're putting in money for the canvas. Some of these paint is shipped from overseas, like
it's not available locally.
It's not available locally, so you have to send a friend who is going abroad to buy for you. And when you go through all that process and no one gets it, it will definitely crush your confidence. So for me, with Pink Flame was just the idea of highlighting on these artists who are women, and they have extraordinary ability, and they have the fire, what it takes to be artists. And the idea of pink is just the pink as a color in the color cycle. It has a feminine energy. So it's used mostly to depict feminine energy. And when I look at the whole idea of Pink Flame is just the fire, the excitement. You know, when I look at all these paintings, I don't see any really like disturbing painting. Or even if there are a few disturbing paintings, they're still coming in a positive way, with good energy. So for me, that fire that I can see in the painting and the artist is what I'm trying to depict with Pink Flame. And the show opened on 17th, and it's ending this Sunday. It was meant to end on 27th, but I had to extend it because there was so much demand, and more people were asking me, is the show open? It's just that it's happening in a mall. I would wish it to be in my own gallery, but in future definitely something bigger will happen, you know. Because if I have more space and I'm not paying for the space, it's easier for me to give more opportunity to more people without feeling that economic burden. So for me, it's a privilege as well to have like more people coming, and people who are not even in the art world. You know, when you're receiving people in the art world, it always makes you feel like you've achieved something. But now when you receive totally new random people who are coming in excitement and they are asking questions and they are willing to learn, it makes you feel like you're now impacting a wider audience. And the whole idea of Tewa's Art and Patrons is actually to access this amazing art to a wider audience, because a good number of Kenyans have the money.
We do.
But when you ask them, where do you get art? The place they will mention is Masai Market. The Masai Market art, it's also art. But sometimes you find that it's art that sometimes is recycled and it's reprinted. And the whole idea of buying a unique painting, it's because you live with it as unique. And you get a connection to even the artist, you know. And it speaks to you. So for me, I'm really happy and privileged to also have you guys here. And I look forward to more people coming by Sunday, because I'm pulling down the works on Monday. Thank you so much. Do you paint yourself? No? Story for another day. That's another video. Thank you guys. That's the whole story. It's a long story for another day. I've learned so much. I hope you will as well. And come, support, see, and you never know. Just even learning itself is progress enough. So you're welcome. Thank you so much.